Yo, what's going on, man? This your boy Sam. I'm joined today by my guy Brian. What's up, B?
What up, dude? How you doing, man? How you feeling?
I'm good, 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 good. Hanging in there, man.
Mm.
Um, sorry about the last week? I think we didn't do one last week. Sorry
Yeah, we
about that.
did a reaction base though.
Yeah, I had man, I tell you, man, life is a motherfucker, man.
Yeah, adulting.
Mm-hmm. Oh man. But anyway, how you been? Everything been good with you?
Yeah, I'm all right. Got a little bit of cold, but I'm all right, man. We straight over here though.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. But before we get started, I want to make sure y'all all know to go make sure you like on YouTube, share it on your social platforms. Put a one in the chat if you can hear me. Put a one in the chat. Just do everything we can to kind of keep boosting numbers up and everything. Eventually, this thing will pay me enough where I have to make it a priority. Anyway, man, what was your thoughts on the game?
um, Obviously, I'm happy got a win. More than anything, I'm happy that certain guys, man, actually showed that they cared. With by effort, they just didn't say it. The effort, whatnot. So I'm happy about that. I mean, I'll just keep it positive on that. But uh, yeah, like I said, I'll just keep it positive right there, man. So
I mean, just talk about the game. I mean, it doesn't matter what you say. I mean,
um, I think we've seen enough, like from the quarterback position. But on the other side, that tells me either Mike, either if DJU is your if Mike really believes DJU is like the best chance you have at winning, I think Mike need to pack his shit
well, I
because
don't think. Well, go ahead. I'm curious why everybody feels that way, but go ahead.
well well because I don't know if I don't know if that offensive line is going to make any quarterback look good, but I just have a hard time believing he is the best equipped when even when he had protection and his other places he's made some like he's one read, is slow processing, slow to get it out, and I just and under this offensive line, which specializes in duress, I don't know. I just kind of feel that, man. Like, man, I just have a hard time believing that. But um, yeah, man. I mean, we won. I'm just leave it at that.
I think I think the DJU thing is becoming like the boogeyman for people now at this point.
Yeah,
I think I don't think DJU is good, but I didn't think DJU was good before the season, so I'm not going to change my opinion on that. Like,
yeah,
I never thought he was good. So, um, I think the bigger concern might be that Brock isn't any good either,
yep,
and I think that's a concern. And I also think that the function of this offense is just really, really bad. I think its offense is the design, the plays, and everything is just really, really bad right now. You go through 3 quarters against Cal, it's 7 points. Memphis, I mean, you played terrible against Memphis on offense. You've been bad on offense. I don't think you hit 21 points yet on offense, have you? Have
yeah.
you scored 3 touchdowns in the game?
No.
I don't think you scored 3 touchdowns in a game yet. Um, in modern day college football, 21, 28 points is basically should be a given. Like, that shouldn't be hard to scheme up 4 touchdowns in modern college football. Like, that's just that shouldn't be that hard to do.
Yeah,
Um, so I think the bigger problem, I mean, you got Iowa. Iowa scored 31 points yesterday. Iowa was known for being the worst offense in college football. They scored 31 points yesterday against Minnesota. FSU barely squeaked out 14 against Cal. This offense is bad. It is not just the quarterback.
yeah,
Um, I think the defense is playing better. I don't think they're actually playing better. I just think they're playing harder, which in turns is making them play a little bit better. The defense line is playing really good. I thought they played good the last game. I mean, Marvin Jones Jr., he's terrible. I mean, if he could just rush the passer every down, he actually probably would be a good player, but he doesn't do the little things right. So in turns, just a situational pass rusher, which that's what he was at Georgia. That's what he was at Georgia. Is what he is here now. So
Yeah.
they're gonna have to. I think it's a good win, maybe to get him some confidence going forward. But I know a lot of people been talking about benching players and all this other stuff. But I was telling somebody, a lot of these guys they brought in got 2 years to play, 2 and 3 years to play. So this is gonna be your team next year too, whether you like it or not. So you kind of do gotta coach these guys up and get these guys to play harder and play better. So I don't know about this whole benching everybody. I do like the fact they did on defense. It's easy to play more people on defense. That's harder to do on offense because offense is all about timing and reps, and you have to get a lot of time and reps and chemistry. So on offense, it's a lot harder to be like just benching people because first of all, your offensive line isn't good. So like, who you gonna bring off the bench that's better? Like they're not good. Like,
Yeah.
um, maybe you can bench some wide receivers and stuff like that. But most of those wide receivers are basically coming back next year. Chicago Douglas will probably be a GA when he come back. So tight end wise, Murlock. I think this is his last year, right? Does he have one more?
Yeah.
I think he got one more year, but you don't have any really good tight ends. So they've done a poorly job recruiting and evaluating their roster on offense. And I think the offense, because it doesn't have anything special on it and it's not creating a lot of spacing. I think the biggest problem with this offense is it's not creating any spacing. So even if you get, it's like they keep talking about scheming up one-on-ones, which is fine, but at some point you got to scheme guys wide ass open, or you got to scheme a running back to the second level without being touched. You know what I'm saying? To really see the special, it's just not a lot of special out there, and the play call is not special.
No, I mean it hasn't been, and I can make the argument is what you want to say about the ACC, whatever, lack of, talent or whatever, but there's a league that actually has some guys that can coach, and they caught up to this, like these pull counters and all this other stuff, and Mike's offense isn't particularly like wow, we didn't see that coming and whatever, and I just think, like you said, without the special, like people caught up with that,
Right.
and it got, and it's not a hard, it's not a hard offense really to figure out if they're not running the ball, because the play action is, we talk about these explosive plays, play action, but if you're not really running the ball worth a dang, and I don't know. And then you do a play action or read option with a guy, man. I read on the timeline somebody said that you run a read option with a dude with a club foot. Is like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I think DJU is taking a lot of the slander, a lot of the hate, but at the end of the day,
Yeah,
I don't think you would get better running. Like people keep talking about, well, if you put Brock in, he would run better. I think it's possible that he would run better, but like Brock isn't Jordan Travis, so he's not going to take a 5 yard run and turn it into a 20-25 yard run.
yeah, and which again, it just boggles my mind, man, that you've seen the model that has given you your best success, but yet the rest of your room looks nothing like it.
Yeah,
And
it looks like the team he had at Memphis.
shout out to T Will, because he know that agenda. But
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I just think he just that offense that offense is it's going on a historical pace of being bad. But I do want to say this. I think the team played harder yesterday, and I think they're going to play better as the season go on because, like I told somebody, after a while, pride does eventually kick in, right? So eventually, players are going to be like, okay, we're going to play hard because we're putting bad film out, and I do have pride. I don't want to keep getting beat every week. So pride will kick in. I'm a little concerned about next week's game. They play SMU, and I get the feeling SMU will find a way to get to 28 points, no matter how good the defense plays. I have no clue if we're going to get to 21 points. I got no clue if that's going to happen. So all in all, man, it's just one of those things, man. It's one of those things.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I hear what you're saying, like DJ taking a lot of slander and all that, but there's some things that he just doesn't like. I don't think you need to have Jordan Travis back there in order to be accurate. And that's the one, like you said this plenty of times, man. He's just not an accurate passer. And there's like, and don't get me wrong, like you said, offensive line just isn't good, but
Right.
and it's timing and all this other stuff. But I sit back and like, and it's also like kind of splitting hairs here because I mean I ain't gonna ever like we got a touchdown out of Ja'Kai. He threw a great pass to Ja'Kai, but numerous times in that game last night, Mike's bread and butter, the running back wheel route is running butt naked, and it's like he can't see everything, and so
Yeah.
I just I don't know. I mean, if you want to get to 21 points, man, against SMU, which they will give it up because they gave up 42 last night. I mean, they will give it up.
Yeah,
But
but we saw Memphis give up 60 something. I mean 40 something, 50 something
oh
points at Navy. So I mean it's not like I mean you haven't played against great defenses. It's not these are
yeah,
not great defense that are shutting you down. This is you're not good on offense.
yeah. I
You know what
mean,
I'm saying? Like you're not good on offense. Like you
yeah,
can't sustain drives, which is crazy because FSU puts up decent amount of yardage. I think they put a decent amount of yardage last night, but it just didn't score touchdowns. This is just I don't know, man. They just don't do a lot of good things right now.
yeah, like nothing. And okay, let's get to this part, man. What was your because like the game is granted we didn't play well, but the game shouldn't have been that close. And I'm not just talking about like you because Cal isn't all that. But what was your take on like not taking the points, like with Fitz, Mike, when he went for that 4th and 7, whatever, and
I mean, once again, man, he's not coaching really well, man. He's coaching everything he does is a desperation. And see, this is the problem with these vibe coaches. It's all about vibes, right? It's all about everybody feel good. So how can I make my team feel good? I watched Doug Peterson do this shit every Sunday with the Jaguars, right? Because he's a vibe coach, right? So he just feels like if I call the right play, we execute the right play, everybody will start feeling good, and that's going to change everything. And the fact of the matter is, like that doesn't change anything. Like you need to coach the situation. Like you gotta understand that your team is terrible at scoring points and going for it on 4th and 8 or 4th and 6 when you got a good field goal kick in your back pocket is kind of crazy to me. Like even in the NFL, even in the NFL, you're noticing now that these coaches are not going for it. They're starting to kick the field goals now, right? Because defenses are starting to catch up with offenses, right? So you're seeing now that having a big lead field goal kicker is almost more important than having a great running back, you know? So I think he does that because he thinks he's gonna swing momentum like it's a real thing, right? He's gonna bring the culture back by getting first downs on foot. Like you kick the field goal, you put distance between Cal and you change the leverage of the game, right? If you get up by 10 points or you get up by 8 points, you start changing the leverage of the game, right? You put them in a more desperate situation to drive the football, which could create more sacks, more opportunity for sack fumbles and more interceptions. But he don't understand that because he's trying to get the vibes back, right? He's trying to get the old thing back, so he's gonna go for it. Like this dude was ready to go for it on his own 30 on the first drive out the game.
yeah, and luckily we jumped offside.
Yeah, like I'm sitting there looking at him like, dude, you got a defense that's been playing pretty good for 2 weeks. Why would you gift them a field goal to start the game? Because you
Yeah,
want to get the vibes back, right? This is bad coaching.
it just
And that's why you got to have people keep talking about this. And everybody get obsessed with play callers. This is the problem with play callers. They're not tacticians. They don't know how to tactically beat teams because they're so busy in their playbook trying to change the season in their playbook. And it's just like you have to methodically beat teams sometimes when you're not the better team. I even said this about Colorado, and they've been doing it recently. I'm like, it ain't that you need to run the ball so that to become a great running team. You need to run the ball so you can drain the clock to get to the fourth quarter where you can give your star quarterback and that star wide receiver you got a chance to win the game. It's not about it's not about letting him throw the ball 45 times, extending the game. Like, you don't have the better team. You got the better quarterback, you got the better wide receiver, but run the ball, get to the fourth quarter and give yourself a chance to win the game, Colorado. And, they did it last night. But that's been a tactician. You know what I'm saying? You have to be a tactician to win games when you don't have a better roster. And right now, Florida State has this roster's they're playing pretty bad. Like, they're not a good roster. You know what I'm saying?
It just doesn't flow, man. It looks like what you would think. You got the majority of your starters, from another school. That's what it looks and plays like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just feel like that, man. It just feels like, man, he is definitely coaching, like you said, out of desperation, and it feels like that 0-4. Like, and this is another reason why I was saying, like, it feels like 21. It just he's looking for something because he doesn't have it naturally in his room. Like,
Yeah.
he's looking for like all, just like, these cars, like they put these intakes and all this other stuff to try to increase horsepower because the car naturally doesn't have the horses. And but hey, ain't nobody to blame for that but him.
Right. And I think at the end of the day, like I said, I think they're gonna keep playing better. I think they're gonna play better, man. It's not all is lost, but I just think that, man, that ceiling on this football team is so low that it's kind of hard to believe that it's that low in year 5.
Man, don't get me started on that, man.
Yeah, so that's the biggest thing. I think one thing that I think is a very much a positive though is the young players playing, especially on defense. Um, I thought Quindarius Jones could have got flagged for a couple of those plays. I think he was kind of lucky not to get flags on those plays, but at the same time, he does play forceful, right? He does play physical on the edge of the at cornerback, and that's something the defense was lacking. As much as everybody loves Zari Thomas and Fintrell, they don't really like. I don't know, man. It's like they want to play 7-on-7. You know what I'm saying? It's like they want to put flags on, and I mean, they can defend, they can cover really, really good, I think. But when it comes like on first down, when a team might run to the edge, they don't really want to get involved with that type of stuff. And you see teams get the edge on them a lot and kind of run around them. So I was kind of happy to see Quindarius Jones and Edwin Joseph and guys like that kind of playing downhill. So they play downhill. So I mean, that's a positive going forward because I think your defense, if you make changes, I think your defense could be a really like a top 10 unit next year. But man, they're so far away from because of the linebacker situation. And it was good to see less of Lundy, which they still kept putting him out there on the field on third down, which is amazing. But I think there's a chance, though. I do think there's a chance they get better. They surprise us. They win a few more games than a lot of us are looking at right now. But I do also think Cal offensive line was not very good, and it got worse as the game went along after they started sustaining injuries. So, Cal, I mean, I don't think Cal's that great. I don't think Cal's that great at all. I think they're below average ACC team, and I think the ACC is really bad this year. Well, outside of Miami and Clemson, I think Miami and Clemson are actually top 10 teams. To be honest with
you. Yeah, as much as it pains me to say that about both of them, but particularly Miami. But yeah, but yeah, I agree. I think it was good that they played those youngins on defense, and Joseph and what's Jones, yeah,
right.
and they get that guy that was running butt naked open. That was another youngin. Somebody tweeted like, "What happened? that when they threw it down there, and
Oh, yeah.
and so, well, the youngins got freed because I was
Yeah.
Rawls.
But that's why I kept telling people when people was talking about this whole youth movement thing. I'm like, man, you got to make guys earn reps in practice, because that can be a bigger problem in your organization when you're just giving guys reps in games. First of all, they already play too many people already on defense, which is ridiculous. They already sub way too much. You have to make those snaps precious to players. You know what I'm saying? Like, so earning those snaps in practice and the way you practice determines if you're gonna play. Just putting guys in because they're young and they got a bunch of hashtags doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Guys need to earn those reps. And I feel like Edwin Joseph earned those reps by the way he played. I mean, you can kind of see it in the game. He understood where he's supposed to be at. Quindarius Jones, you can kind of see, kind of understood where he's supposed to be at. So Rawls, maybe he didn't understand. You know, I don't think he played no more after that snap, did he? I don't think so.
I don't remember seeing him after that.
I don't think so. But that's a good thing though. I mean, they got young talent on the defense. They recruited good last year in the secondary. I mean, it's the only position that was recruited good was in the secondary last year.
Yeah, and yeah. So you're 100% right on that, man. You got to be, those snaps got to be precious, and so by that token, once you get in, like, you know what you're supposed to do, and you going like hard in the paint and whatever because you want more snaps, right?
Right.
So yeah.
So I think overall, man, it was a good win. It was a good win overall, in my opinion. Fuller did more blitzing, and that's that. Like I said, that's going to be like as the season go on, man. He has to blitz so much just to get pressure and get the ball out of these guys' hands that it's going to be it's going to be a problem later on in the season, because you can't keep living it down like that.
Yeah. Well, dude, like 5 years, and in 5 years we still can't run a matchup zone worth a damn, right?
Yeah.
And like they're on the 1 and 3rd and like 14 or something like that, and you ran that matchup zone. And I'm not mad at that you chose to run like zone, because it made sense, right? But I'm mad that you chose to run zone and you know y'all people can't run zone.
Yeah, but when you run man, you saw that quarterback run out the back door to pick up 15 to 20 yards. I mean, you can't. This is a problem though. The fact that you can't run zone to stop quarterbacks from gashing you in the run game is a problem.
Well, and it's funny on that play right there. I was actually watching that play and didn't even watch the replay. And Blake, who I like, young gunner, he just got caught up. He ended up getting caught up, swayed to the right, and then when he went to the left to go grab the dude, he ended up running in and getting blocked. So that's how he was there as a spot. And,
yeah, but it's a danger when you run a spy. See, like a lot of times they talk about spies, but you know, like Belichick would always say, you don't like running spies, because once the quarterback can identify the spy, all he got to do is run away from him. I mean, if you run a spy on Lamar Jackson, he identify you. I mean, that's a 30-yard pickup, 40-yard, 50-yard pickup, because all I got to do is run away from this one guy. Just one guy. So ideally, what you would like to do is run zone, so that way you got 4 and 5 guys looking at the quarterback instead of one guy. Ideally.
That matchup zone, man, I'm like, man, it's been 5 years, man. Like, enough is enough.
You know what's funny though, because they don't run a matchup zone. They run a basic zone. They run a green grass zone. They don't run they run an old school zone. They don't run a matchup zone.
Oh, because it looked like
some teams, like some teams run like a cover 3 zone defense, right? So like it's like they're in man. It looks like man on the first like 3 or 4 yards of the play, and then they cover it, then they hand you off to somebody else end zone. FSU doesn't run that. So a lot of teams, what they do is they put FSU in bunch sets, right? They'll put FSU in these bunch sets, right? So all the defenders are really close to each other. And then they just start, what they do is they cross the FSU defender's face. So once they do that, it leaves them confused every time because they're not matching up in the zone. So if you ever watch FSU, that's why all these teams keep running all these bunch sets. They keep getting in bunches and they keep running all this motion because they know FSU's in a basic zone. So it's messing. It's like it's the defense's fault. It's the defensive coordinator's fault because they don't match up in the zone. Like Saban will run a matchup zone. Belichick will run a matchup, and Pete Carey to run a cover 3 matchup zone. You know what I'm saying? But because FSU's running this basic zone, so FSU either gonna run that basic zone on third down and blitz out of it, where they blitz one guy and replace him with somebody else, or FSU's gonna run man to man. That's
Yeah,
basically all they do.
yeah. Because the reason why I said it was a matchup zone because the way Knowles released because the ball went right by Knowles or whatever because as he was turning to run back to his, so it makes sense now because he was going to run back to his area versus like somebody would have been with that guy until they passed him off.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay. It's nobody to pass nobody off to because they're in a basic zone. Like when they run cover 2, they run a basic cover 2 zone. So I know if y'all play college football, you're gonna see that they run like it's a cover 3 zone, right? In college football. Then you'll see a cover 3 buzz match zone in cover 3 in college football. If you ever play the game. And if you do it, you'll see the difference in how the players play it. It's totally different. So FSU run a very basic zone. It's very basic, like aggravating basic. But you know what? It's been basic and terrible like that for 4 or 5 years. The difference is when you got a really good defensive line, they playing really, really good.
Yep.
You can get away with some of that stuff. And sometimes the quarterback, because you're playing that type of zone, the quarterback would throw you the football. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you can't, but the only thing about it is it does give away free yards. Like it would give away 10 and 15 free yards sometimes if the quarterback just reads it right. So, and that's a lot of reasons why last year I kept saying I didn't think FSU would beat Washington. It's because Penix and those wide receivers against that type of zone, that type of look, in my opinion, would have just ate that alive. So they need to change some stuff schematically, man. I mean, and that's why I keep telling people like with the 0-3 start and now they're 1-3. Hopefully these things might look in the mirror and say, man, schematically we need to be better because schematically, like we could talk about the players and the players are bad. Some of them are bad, but they're not this bad, right? It's like when I look at Florida play, I'm like, yeah, Florida's bad, but Florida ain't in a shootout with Mississippi State bad. You know what I'm saying? They're not get blown off the field by a rebuild of Texas A&M team bad. Like this is schematics. This is practice. This is what you're not getting done Sunday through Friday, right? This is you're missing something in film study and in practices, and that's what Florida State's missing right now, man. You know,
but I don't have any reason to believe that Mike's going to change because this is some of the stuff that we saw year 1s and 2s, and it's still popping up in year 5. So
yeah, I think a lot of people are out on Mike right now, but I mean, at the end of the day, he's not going anywhere. So you can get on we can get on this podcast, we can have a conversation about it every week. But I mean, he's not going anywhere, and I don't think he should. But I also think he is young enough that if he can self-diagnose and evaluate his roster and his coaches the correct way. But see, this is the problem though, because he should have did this. He should have been doing this evaluation every year after every season, and I think he would have got to this place by now. But hopefully, with the 0-3 start and the way it's looking, the way it looks, because I mean, it's no way you can walk out of that Cal game if you're Mike and feel good about it. Like, it's no way you can walk out of the game and be like, "Oh man, heavy sigh of relief. We figured it out." Like, you didn't really figure it out. You know what I'm saying?
no.
like you're a competent Cal kicker away from losing that game pretty comfortably. Like they probably beat you by what 3 field goals. If Cal is like just not shooting himself in the foot, because they missed 2 field goals, right?
They missed 3.
I think they missed 3, but yeah. So,
but to be fair,
we're not even letting our field goal kicker kick. So, see, these are the decisions we're making.
Yeah, and then your boy, who was it? Was it Ferguson or Richie Leonard got flagged for holding that really wasn't a hold, and we were down. We just got a first down. We're down like to 3, and
yeah,
and we didn't get any points out of that.
Yeah,
So
I mean, you shouldn't be that bad though. You really shouldn't.
you're right.
These players, I mean, on offense, it's just not enough. They're not creating enough spacing. It's just not enough space being created.
Yeah,
Um,
these concentrated, condensed set, like it's
yeah.
just like, well, the real thing. I mean, like like you saying, like, reevaluating and all this other stuff, man. But Mike needs to Mike needs a mentor that's not named Gus Malzahn or anybody like that.
But you know something though, man, and this is why like Nick Saban, people like Saban and people like Belichick are so special because every coach comes from a system and a tree. And like even Kyle Shanahan too, like, all these coaches come from something. And it's hard to you do this one thing for like 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. And that thing has had success for a sustained, period for you. And that's how you became a head coach. It's how you became successful. You have a 13-0 season, right? So the more success you get by doing it a certain kind of way, it ingrains your belief in what you're doing,
Yeah,
right? It's like watching Doom, the movie Doom, right? Like everybody's telling you you're the chosen one. Then you start doing things that make you feel like you're the chosen one. Now you become this crazy dictator. But anyway, it's hard for him to change who he is, play caller wise, schematically, the way you call plays, the way you practice, the way you do things. It's hard to change that. So you got people like Belichick, people like Kyle Shanahan that they can change things on the fly. Like their ability to learn and adapt new things and put that in their systems is what make them great coaches. Like this sustained success of Nick Saban and Belichick is kind of crazy because it's like everybody can't do that. Like once everybody get a book on what you do defensively, offensively over 5, 10, 15 years, everybody got this big, this big
yeah,
reference point of what you do, they catch up with you. And once they catch up with you, now what do you do? Well, that's when it becomes about evaluating players. Like, how good are you now at evaluating players and evaluating not just players that's not in your program, but players that's in your program? So that's why Kirby will always say, I'm a good coach, but I became a much better coach when I started getting better players. Because your scheme can only take you so far because people catch up with your scheme.
yeah,
Right. You know what I'm saying? But if my X's are better than your O's, my X's can make me right. Even though your O's might be right, my X is a little bit better than your O's, so they make me they make me the better coach at the end of the day.
yeah,
And I said this before. I think these defenses are caught up with Mike Norvell offense, and he's gonna have to find some kind of way to make a change in it. He got to find a pivot. He got to find something in there. And right now, you just don't see. I mean, you saw it with Saban, like the Saban last 5 years at Alabama. That defense wasn't that good the last 5 years, even though it had great defensive talent. It wasn't that good the last 5 or 6 years.
yeah,
But this man but the thing with Saban was he had became a head coach. He wasn't just a defensive coordinator anymore. So he could still win in situations, right? He could still coach situations in the game and win a football game, even though his defense was giving up 35, 40 points, getting in shootouts. He would still find a way to win the game on the margins because he wasn't just a defensive coach. He's a head coach. Mike got to move from being an offensive play caller to
yeah,
being a head coach. You have to be a head coach. So that means you got to coach situations. And he's just not doing a good job coaching situations. And that's why his team that's why they struggle.
yeah. And yeah, I mean, to your point, you're talking about Saban and Kirby, like they have another gear though, right? And like they come in and say, okay, hey, these people catching up, so let me reinvent this or
Yeah.
change whatever. And right now, for whatever reason, Mike doesn't have that other gear. He's
I
like on
mean, I mean, you think about it with Kirby, he hired
Monken,
well, hold on. Before Monkey, he had another guy.
Bobo.
I want to say it was Coley and another guy. He had coaching the offense, right?
Wasn't it Bobo?
No, not it was before that. It was somebody else. I don't forgot the guy name. I don't forget, but I remember he wanted. I remember it was like it was a guy from Tennessee. But anyway, he was coordinating the offense. But that guy's job was to come in and install the system that Kirby wanted to run, pro style system. So he came in with Sam Pittman, and there was another guy with Sam Pittman. They installed the system, right? Then he hired Coley. Okay, Coley was from the Jimbo tree, right? Which Jimbo thing was you want to have an answer for everything the defense throw at you, right? Okay. But the thing about Jimbo system was a defense can scheme you into running the plays they want you to run because you got to have an answer for every formation. So then he got rid of Coley. Then he hired Monken, right? Monken whole thing is create space, throw shot plays. So over the last, 2-3 years, at Georgia, they was really, really explosive on offense with Stetson Bennett, right? And you see it now with the Ravens, right? The Ravens now have become a shot play offense, which it looked good last year because you could blow teams out. But now when teams take away those shot plays from you, what are you? You're Lamar Jackson trying to scramble around now, right? But my point is this. He's brought people in there to say we need to pivot to this, right? We need to pivot to this or pivot to that. So now he got Bobo back in there. So he's back with the ground and pound, but we going to keep these shot plays that we like to do. But I also want to be ball control.
Yeah.
Right.
Another gear. That's my
right.
point.
So he's switching up what he needs to do because Kirby is a head coach. He's not a play caller. Right. So he's not saying we got to win this way. He's saying, what other ways can we win games? And even on his defense, he had Dan Lannon. Now he got the other guy there. Now the philosophy is what Kirby wants to do, which is to be multiple on defense. But at the end of the day, it's to coach details on defense and the keep leverage. They don't. He's had different defense coordinators. Like when he had Dan Lannon, they blitzed a lot at Georgia. When he had Dan Lannon, they don't have Dan Lannon there anymore. They don't blitz as much anymore. You know what I'm saying? But the defense is still. But Kirby's a head coach now. You know, it's all about winning the game. So Mike's just got to pivot, man. He got to bring some people in there that know how to coach offense that can, whether it be help the offensive passing game. But to me, they need spacing. That offense just lacks a lot of spacing. Every time somebody catches the ball, they're surrounded by a bunch of people at all times. And that it shouldn't be like that in college football because of the hash marks. The hash marks creates spacing for you.
There's like no oh yeah. I mean, we're not gonna get into all that. We start dissecting players or whatever. But
anyway, hold on, man. Before we go, I think we talk. Well, let's talk about what's gonna happen going forward at the season because I got a hot take. I thought about it yesterday. I'm gonna get a hot take a little bit later, but this is a hot take about college football coaches. I'm thinking about coaches in general, but anyway, the schedule going forward, how you see it playing out?
Dog, Clemson gonna do what Clemson is figuring out their offense at the wrong time before us. I don't know. I think we got a shot at Duke.
Okay.
Obviously there was a Charleston Southern, but
yeah,
I ain't never. Who else we got?
They will beat Duke. They would beat North Carolina. They would beat Charleston Southern.
Okay. I think here's the thing. I think crazier things can happen at Florida with Florida. I
think Florida's going to beat us.
I'm not. Here's what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to argue that. I'm not going to argue that. But what I wouldn't be surprised if we won.
Right.
Just because it's at home and just because, and also I don't know what's going on. If Billy is still there at that time,
he's getting fired. That's not gonna be the point though. The point is gonna be
I get fired, but but it's a matter of when he's going, because the way they're trying to do this not to get on a different path, but what they're doing, how they're trying to change, signing day and portals and all this other stuff.
Right.
You got to pretty much get your coach up out of there early and name the successor kind of early.
I don't think so. I think people keep saying this. I don't think so. I think that if you're Florida, you wait to get the you wait to get the okay, the concessions and the okay from the coach you're going to hire. So if the coach at Florida is going to be Lane Kiffin or Lincoln Riley, this is just me throwing out two names that they're going after these two guys. So I mean, if you get the okay, if Lincoln Riley or Lane Kiffin say, hey, when my season's done with, I will come to Florida, right? If they say that, right? There is no rush to really fire Billy Napier because at the end of the day, you need somebody, you need his staff and his infrastructure that's there to keep recruiting for you. That's his job. Like
Yeah,
he knows he's getting fired. So a lot of those kids came there under the assumption that he might get fired. Like, I
yeah,
mean, kids are not stupid. So if it's me, if I'm Florida, I probably leave him there, announce his firing after the Georgia game, say, hey, this is going to be his last season. He can finish out the season. And knowing Billy, he'll finish the season out. Like Billy's a good guy. I mean, he'll
yeah,
finish the season out. He getting paid. He gonna get paid $25 million not the coach no more. I mean,
yeah,
okay. But I think the bigger problem going to be by the time Florida State play Florida, DJ Ladway will be a good quarterback by then. He will
yeah,
be good. He'll be good by then. And they got enough skill guys, they'll put up 28 points on you.
yeah,
Like, they
yeah.
got enough skill guys. So I think they will beat you. SMU is really where it's at. You need to beat SMU.
You got to beat SMU, but
So that'll give you 2, Duke 3, North Carolina 4, Charleston Southern 5. Now you get to the Notre Dame and the Florida game. You need to split one of those two to get to a bowl game.
and I think your best chance of that is the Florida game.
Yeah, see, I think your best chance is going to be the Notre Dame game. And the reason why I say this, about Notre Dame is because Notre Dame is actually very thin on the offensive line. By that time, it could be enough offensive line shakeups for Notre Dame that your defense can probably play good enough to win that game for you, where they won't score a lot of points.
Yeah, but our offense ain't gonna score points either. And
right, they're not. You're right, but I'm just saying that to me that'd be a more competitive game than the Florida game because I think Florida's going to beat you in a way and the reason why I say Florida's going to do that to you because Florida got 3 playmakers on offense that all can go the distance for touchdowns. Like like that Mizell kid, Eugene Wilson, and the running backs Trey Webb and Montel Johnson. They got guys that can kind of play outside of the X's and O's and make big plays. Notre Dame can't really do that to you. Notre Dame is going to have to. It's going to be a game the whole game.
But I mean, yeah. But here's what I just don't. This is what.
And to be honest with you, FSU needs to go to a bowl game because the young kids that they got on this team, they need the 21 practices. They need the practices. Like if you're going to be good next year, because next year is really going to be where it's at. If you come back next year and win 7 games, you can pretty much get ready to be fired in year 3. I mean, in the third, in 3 years, 2 years from now. So you got 24. We're at 24, right? 24 this year. Come back next year, 25. If you win 7 games or 6 games of 25, in 26, you're going to be on a hot seat. You're probably going to get fired.
Yeah.
Then I can start my Fran Brown agenda.
Well, see, we gonna talk about that because
nah, we're not yet. I ain't there yet, but I'm just saying I'm monitoring it. I'm monitoring Fran Brown. But so my hot take because we talking about North Carolina.
Yeah,
so I'm watching. So I'm watching FSU. I think I'm going to beat North Carolina. I didn't watch North Carolina. I just seen the score. Yeah, North Carolina got 70 points put on it. It was like 60 points at halftime. North Carolina, right?
It was 56, yeah.
Okay, 56 points at halftime. North Carolina gave up 56 points to James Madison, right? I think that coaching job is so bad that I actually think Matt Brown actually should have been arrested. And I think he should have been sent to like some type of federal detention, like Fed time. Like it ain't got to be like a Rikers Island type prison, but I think he should have been sent to jail at halftime. I think that coaching job is so bad, it's almost like you're creating a Ponzi scheme. That should be like a federal crime for your coaching job to be that bad. I think Matt Brown needed to be arrested.
Yeah, that's
And I ain't saying he got to stay there for 20 years or nothing like that. I mean, it can only be like a 7-day detention thing, but I think he should have been arrested and put into like some type of holding cell for at least 7 days. Like I don't think he should be around the football team. You can't allow dudes 56 points at halftime to James Madison.
that's crazy. But
That's my hot take is that when your coaching job, when you do such a bad job at coaching, I think you should be arrested.
oh, really?
Yeah, because certain things like that time USC gave up like 500 yards to BC Russian that time, that couple years ago, like years ago. Like at that point, people got to be arrested. Like, because now you're stealing money. You're stealing money from the institutions.
Okay, what about Jacksonville State? If you lose to Jacksonville,
But see, I think they was trying to win that game. So but let's say Jacksonville State would have put up 40 points in the second half. Right? Let's say it would have been like 40. Let's say you lost to Jacksonville State 40-6. At that point, you have to arrest Adam Fuller and Mike Norvell, right? Because now you run a Ponzi scheme. Like this is a Ponzi scheme now. You know what I'm saying? Like you're taking millions and millions of dollars from the state and from hardworking people, and you're stealing the money.
Doug, you go this dude. You sound like a political ad right now.
Bro, I'm serious about this, bro. Like Matt Brown should have been like we should have saw state troopers come down after the third quarter when they got like 66 points. State troopers should have came down. All right, Matt, I need you to come with me. Because we watching this on live television. I need you to come with me, Mac. Like, we gonna put you in this federal detention place for like 7 days. Lunch, breakfast on us. You get to go outside, recreational time, but you can't come around a football team around the public for 7 days. Like you're running a Ponzi scheme, bro. That's a Ponzi scheme.
Would you say you can't Rick Scott the people?
Yeah, bro. Like that's bro. I think when you coach that bad, I think you do have to be arrested. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. That's my hot take, though. I mean, we like locking people up in this country anyway. Let's just.
But yeah, I know you say about like you said you want to give Fran about 3 more years. So, all right, okay, we'll talk about that when the time comes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just monitoring. These are people names I'm putting on the list. I'm just monitoring these people. I'm just monitoring.
Hey, man, I know this much. That timeline may get pushed up because, hey, man, Baylor may have a job opening soon.
Dave Miranda would be a good coach to add to the staff, I think.
Well, and also, daggum, Arkansas can't do nothing right. They messed around and won.
Yeah. Man, I tell you, man, it's bad out here, man. But
you talking about who can we add to the staff? I'm talking about landing destinations. But that's another thing. That's another.
So you want the coach to go to other places? Okay.
Yes.
All right. I ain't gonna have that conversation yet.
Yeah. You can, like you told me one time, and I put it a different way. You get something that's broken and you fix it. You get that chance, but you can't fix it and break it again.
I don't want to have a conversation yet, man. I don't mind having it in private, but I don't want to have it on the podcast. Not yet.
All right.
Because I have to give him the benefit of the doubt to say that he did get it somewhat right the last year. That year he went 0-4. They found a way to reel off 5 games.
Yes.
And then the next year they won 10 games. Then the next year they won 13. So you have enough talent, I think, on defense. You're going to have to get really talented on offense, though, next year to be a 10-win team. But if you win 10 games next year, he's safe.
Yeah.
So, but I got to see how everybody develops.
Yeah, no doubt. But it's just kind of ironic that your emphasis, I mean, your pedigree and your what you're known for, your reputation is arguably the worst unit on this football.
Yeah.
And so anyway, but
I mean, y'all ready for this Mike Norvell stuff? Y'all bro. Y'all are low. Y'all got the coal loaded up. Y'all don't put gas on the coal. Y'all there. Y'all are there.
No. I am not. I'm just seeing some things, man, that just like I just wonder if dude is like, and I understand you making 10 million a year. You should be stressed in a sense, in a way
Right.
where have to be like all the niceties and stuff like that I was getting the benefit of that, like all that's done.
Yeah.
We paid you for that.
Right.
Like that's done, and it feels like I think that's weighing on the shoulder. But hopefully that will be the thing that makes him say, well, hey, these people around me ain't like I ain't gonna fulfill this contract if I keep these same people around.
Yeah, I ain't gonna get into that conversation yet. I'm gonna wait on that one. I know y'all firing him every day on the timeline. I see the comments. I see where we all going with this.
Who's y'all?
Just saying, I was reading the timelines. Like people keep trying to infer that. I'm like,
who's y'all? I'm talking about I'm talking about the people he hired. He's gonna have to hire new people.
yeah, he's gonna have to do that. Maybe. If I was Mike, though, I'd just probably keep my homeboys around. If I was him.
Okay. All right. I see where this is going.
I mean, I would. I wouldn't be. From what I heard, Mike is a very paranoid guy. So this idea that he's gonna hire a bunch of people from outside of him, of who he knows and stuff like that, and find long-term people where he got long-term relationships with, I just don't see that happening because he's a very paranoid guy. And I can't really blame him for being paranoid because being a college football coach is like sitting on the Game of Thrones. It's like people always coming for your job and people always in survival mode, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, we are.
So I can't really blame him for being like that, but I heard he's like a very paranoid, like he's very paranoid. I mean,
And I heard he's well liked in amongst the admin people. So there's absolutely nothing that he will ask for that they will not oblige.
right.
That in itself is kind of disturbing, but hey, it's whatever. Hey, we got SMU, man. I'm going to Dallas, so go Noles, man. We're gonna do this.
Yeah, absolutely, man. But that's the part. My hot take is that when you see a crazy result from a football game that just shouldn't even be possible, the authorities should get called
Yes,
and
days.
people should be detained and have 7 days to think about it.
Well, hold on now. That before you do it, like it's got to be escalated. Like what Mac Brown did. Like
It's just 7 days. You just got to be detained for 7 days. I want you in an orange jumpsuit. I want you thinking about life. I don't want you around kids. I don't want you around the program for 7 days. At least you can, and then once you get out, you can start paying back, the things that you stolen from the community because that's ridiculous.
okay,
You can't give up that many points, bro. You cannot be that bad on offense. Dude, they were bad on offense, defense, and special teams.
yeah, like
Not just bad.
I'm just saying, like,
Historically bad.
yeah, I just saying, like, I think that required it earned more than just 7. I think some like maybe that's 10, 14 as when Louisville beat the brakes off us in 16.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, like you see something like that, you're like, okay, somebody probably needs to be comfortable. Somebody need to be.
He needed 7 days, Jimbo, but Matt needs about 14 for this, man.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. But anyway, that's my hot take. My hot take is these coaches making millions and millions of dollars. When you have a crazy result like that,
that's gonna be a thing, man. We're gonna keep this up. Man.
Yeah. So anyway. All right, man. But that's the part. Like, review, subscribe, check it out. All right, man. That's the part. Yo.
All right, man.